Well, hey guys, I'm Brandon Ayres from the Cornea Service at Wills Eye Hospital and Ophthalmic Partners of Pennsylvania. And today I'm talking about a technique that I was told about a long time ago by the Ayres group. And every time I hear them talk about something, I look at it and I go, yeah, that's cool, but I don't need it. But you know what I always hear in my mind is this.
See, I told you, I'm always right.
That's right, they are always right. So today we're going to be talking about doing an iridodialysis repair, and I'm bringing back the paper plate model. And I'm going to show you how to do an iridodialysis repair using a trochar to assist to make it a little bit easier. All right, guys, so this is a trochar. I think most of us know what this looks like. In particular, this is a 23 gauge trochar. This is one of the Alcon trochars, and this is a valve trochar. Now you can see the valve that's plugged in the hole, and these are great. This keeps fluid from squirting out during the surgery, but this is not the kind of trochar that you need for this surgery. You want one more like this. This is a 25. Now you can use 23 or 25, but this is a 25 gauge, also valve trochar. But in this case, that valve can actually be removed. So if you take any kind of a little forceps, here we can pull that valve off. The reason you want to remove the valve is we're going to be passing needles through the lumen of the trochar, and we don't want that little rubber valve to be there. You can remove this valve so that the needle doesn't go through it and catch any plastic. Now, I made a model trochar. This is a monster. Here I am comparing it to the 23 gauge valve trochar, and we're going to use this in our paper plate model. So here you can see I've created an iridodialysis, and that little straw there represents a 27 gauge needle. And I've designed and made an artificial 10-O polypropylene on a STC6 needle. So this is the long, straight needle. And we're going to use that 27 needle as a guide through the sclera, about 1.5 millimeters back. We're going to go under the iris, and we're going to put that needle right into the lumen, catching just the littlest bit of the peripheral iris. Take the second needle and always wiggle while you're going through a paracentesis. Because if you don't, you're going to catch a little bit of the stromal fiber of the cornea. Use that guide needle, and you'll see this is what happens if you don't wiggle the needle. You'll catch that little bit of cornea, and when you pull your mattress suture into the eye, you're going to have it bound up. So take a trochar, and this is what the Ayres are always talking about, and this is what they've now convinced me to do. You take a trochar, you put it through your paracentesis, and now it's really easy. You don't have to wiggle. You can find that same spot every time. So we'll take our guide needle. We're going to pass it through the peripheral iris. This will be one suture pass of a mattress suture. Externalize that 10-O proline. Take the second needle, so of course this is a double arm suture. Go through that trochar again. It makes it so easy to find. Go underneath the iris with the guide needle. Place the STC needle through the iris into the lumen and then externalize. Then you would just tie that knot on the surface of the sclera and bury the knot into the sclera, or you can tie it in a little groove, whichever one you prefer. But now your mattress suture is tied, and you're finished doing your dialysis repair. Now this is a combination, and we'll show this in real time. A combination of a pupilloplasty using the 4-throw pupilloplasty technique and a dialysis repair. So we're going to start out by, of course, putting a little OVD in the eye and shrinking the pupil. Now we're going to wiggle. Remember I was talking about wiggling. You're going to wiggle that needle as it goes through the paracentesis. We're going to go through the proximal and distal portions of the iris defect, and I just want to get that iris atrophy put back together for this patient. I'm going to use, in this case, I'm going to use the viscoelastic cannula to help me exit the needle from the eye. You really don't have to do that for a 4-throw pupilloplasty, but it's going to make this case a little bit easier. Now we're recovering, and I know this is really hard to see, and I do have some videos on how to do a 4-throw pupilloplasty, because this suture is hard to see on the video transfer. But we now have our 3 strands of suture. The superior strand will go all the way across the eye, the middle strand goes to the distal portion of the iris defect, and the proximal goes to the more proximal. And we're going to wrap it around 3 times. There's wrap 1, wrap 2, wrap 3, and wrap 4. We're then going to just pull both ends of the suture, and you're going to see it cinch that iris together really nicely. Now, a defect like this is going to take more than one 4-throw pupilloplasty, so here goes number 2. Same thing, I'm passing it through the entry paracentesis, exiting it using the viscoelastic cannula as a guide. We'll do our 4-throw pupilloplasty. I skipped the wrapping portion here. And now we've got most of the area of atrophy reapproximated. So now it's time to do a peritomy, and we're going to start doing the trocar-assisted iridodialysis repair. So there's our 25 gauge trocar. It is valved, but not anymore because we took the valve off. So that's a really important part. Here's our 27 gauge guide needle, about 1.5 millimeters posterior to the limbus, just going underneath the iris defect. We'll pass the first part of our 10-0 polypropylene suture. Now this is a temporal defect, so I'm working over the nose, which makes it much more difficult. But now you'll see we're grabbing just the littlest bit of the peripheral iris. The less iris you get, the better, because that way you're going to get less ovalization. We're going to push the needle all the way through, get it into the lumen of the needle, and then we will externalize that first needle. Now remember, this is a double-arm needle, so we'll take the second needle, and that will go right through that same trocar. It makes it so easy to find that paracentesis, especially in an awkward surgical position when you're passing these needles over the nose. We'll take our 27 guide needle. This will be the second suture. In a small dialysis like this, we'll probably only take one mattress suture to close, and just look how easy it is for us to find the lumen of the needle. Get, again, just the littlest bit of the peripheral iris, pass the needle, externalize the guide needle, the STC needle will come out, and now you're basically going to be ready to tie that suture on the scleral surface, or if you made a scleral groove. I don't use a scleral groove, and I did hit a little blood vessel, so it's bleeding like crazy, but here goes the 3 of a 3-1-1, and you might want to leave this on a hangback so you don't ovalize the pupil too much. You can see the tighter we tie that knot, the more oval the pupil. After the 3-1-1, we'll bury the knot into the sclera. I decided to do one more 4th-row pupilloplasty just to get a little bit better centration of the pupil. And then we'll do a thermal iridoplasty. I'm using intraocular diathermy just to round out and enlarge the pupil a little bit. A great way to finish off an iridoplasty. All that's left is the conjunctival peritomy. It's got to get closed. And there you go. So that's the trocar-assisted iridodialysis repair. I hope you guys learned something by watching this video. Hopefully you've heard something or seen something today that you can apply to your own patients to make their surgery go more easily. Once again, I'm Brandon Ayres from the Cornea Service at Wills Eye Hospital. Thank you so much for watching.